for all the big stories of the day. We've got lots of specials ahead for you. Bhajan Lal Sharma is the new Rajasthan Chief Minister. We'll ask the big question, is this part of Prime Minister Modi's effort to revamp the party organization ahead of the crucial 2024 elections? Also, India's most distinguished jurist, Fali Nariman, will join me and decode the Article 370 verdict that has stirred a big debate. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9 tonight. Vasundhara Raje makes way for Bhajan Lal Sharma. He is the BJP's new pick as Chief Minister of Rajasthan after Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. BJP goes in for another new face. Diya Kumari Premchand Barwa named Deputy Chief Ministers. Prime Minister Modi hails the Supreme Court verdict upholding abrogation of Article 370, invokes the spirit of Ek Bharat. Congress MP Dheeraj Sahu sees cash haul amounts to over 351 crore rupees. Prime Minister Modi taunts again, calls Congress the orchestrator of a money heist. Congress rebuts, rakes up the Adani issue. Centre reintroduces revised criminal reform bills in the Lok Sabha. New bills widen the scope of terror activities, harming economic stability of India, now a terror act. Upper House passes the contentious CEC appointment bill with a voice vote. Opposition walks out, says bill will allow the centre to influence the office of the Election Commissioner. Caste census divides the Congress in Karnataka. Mallikarjun Kharge equates DK Shiv Kumar's stand to that of the BJP. DK denies any opposition to a caste census. Another setback for Trinamool Congress's Mahua Moitra. She gets a notice to vacate her official bungalow after her expulsion as Lok Sabha MP earlier this week. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammed Khan allegedly attacked by CPM student wing. 7 SFI workers arrested. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor condemns, calls Kerala police agents of lawlessness. And CBSE releases date sheet for board exams. Class 12 board exams will be conducted from February 15 to April 2nd, 2024. Class 10 board exams will be held from February 15 to March 13. But first, our top story. The suspense is over. The BJP has chosen now its Chief Minister for the battleground state of Rajasthan. Remember, Bhajan Lal Sharma is now a first-time MP and organizational man who has been chosen as the Chief Minister, following a pattern set in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh of replacing the old guard with the new. He has 2 Deputy Chief Ministers as well, Diya Kumari and Premchand Barwa. So 2 Deputy Chief Ministers and a new Chief Minister. If the Shivraj Singh Chauhan era is over in Madhya Pradesh, it appears that the Vasundhara Raje era is over in Rajasthan. How does this all lead up to 2024? Is this Prime Minister Modi's grand revamp? That will be our talking point. But first, take a look at our top story tonight.
It's a dream debut for Bhajan Lal Sharma. The first-time MLA from Sanganer constituency will be the new Rajasthan Chief Minister. The decision was announced at a meeting of BJP MLAs supervised by party's central observers led by Rajnath Singh and in the presence of former CM Vasundhara Raje Scindia. Sharma, who originally hails from Bharatpur, was fielded from the BJP bastion of Sanganer by dropping a sitting MLA. The 56-year-old Brahmin leader has served as the party's state unit general secretary in the past.
हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री सम्मानीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। मैं हमारी पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष सम्मानीय जेपी नड्डा जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। सम्मानीय हमारे गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हम राजस्थान का पूरी तरह से सर्वांगीण विकास किसी भी क्षेत्र में हो निश्चित रूप से हम पूरा करेंगे।
Jaipur royal family member Diya Kumari and MLA from Dudu seat, Premchand Barwa will be deputy CMs.
सबका धन्यवाद दूंगी कि आपने मुझे ये जिम्मेदारी सौंपी है और बिल्कुल पूरा प्रयास रहेगा कि मैं अपनी तरफ से सब कुछ करूंगी, काम करेंगे, अभी भी किया ही है। और बहुत मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे जो जिस तरह से जनता ने विश्वास जताया है और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के अब दिशा निर्देश में, उनके मार्गदर्शन में हम लोग भी काम करेंगे।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी में कार्यकर्ताओं को सम्मान जो मिलता है, मेरे जैसा आदमी, अध्यापक का लड़का विधायक बन सकता है दूसरी बार, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी में संभव है। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी में हो सकता है कि भजन लाल जी जैसा संगठन का एक छोटा सा कार्यकर्ता आज मुख्यमंत्री।
Bhajan Lal Sharma's anointment as CM sparked celebrations in his family.
कैसा लग रहा है? उम्मीद थी?
बहुत बढ़िया भगवान की मर्जी।
उम्मीद थी आपको?
उम्मीद देखो हम सबका चुना है भैया भगवान की मर्जी है, सब ईश्वर की मर्जी, आप लोगों की मेहरबानी है।
कितना संघर्ष किया भजन लाल ने आपके?
बहुत करो है।
By appointing a Brahmin as CM, a Rajput and scheduled caste leader as deputy CMs, the BJP has attempted a unique social engineering. Brahmins constitute only 7% of population, Rajputs 9% and SCs 18%. The BJP's choice of 3 fresh faces as CMs for Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh can be called a generational shift, even if not in terms of age. The change of guard marks the exit of heavyweights Vasundhara Raje, Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Raman Singh, all of whom were given reins during the Vajpayee Advani era. The BJP has begun a new innings in the Hindi heartland. Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's raise the big questions. What explains the BJP's total overhaul and revamp of its chief ministerial talents? Are these fresh faces designed to kill the fatigue factor? Is this the BJP's bid to defang the opposition's caste card politics? Is this strategic revamp for Mission 2024? Or is this simply a new high command culture in the BJP where Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah take all the decisions? Joining me now, special guest Pradeep Gupta, India's ace cephalogist and chairman and MD Axis My India. Ashok Malik, partner the Asia Group, who was on our election panel predicting that Shivraj Singh Chauhan, among others, would be replaced. Supriya Srinath, Congress's spokesperson. Syed Zafar Islam, the BJP spokesperson. I want to start with you, Pradeep Gupta, first, because you will give us a sense of what this means for the BJP's 2024 campaign. Do you believe that these changes have been designed to give new faces for 2024, or has the BJP taken a big risk by virtually marginalizing and finishing the careers of the likes of Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Vasundhara Raje? Do you see this as Mission 2024?
So, Rajdeep, let me start with this thing. This is from a BJP point of view, as you asked me. This is mainly for, I would say, not 2024, but 5 years later on, and more for state governments and state point of view, less for Lok Sabha 2024, and definitely yes for Lok Sabha 2029 onwards. And I'll try and explain you. As far as 2024 goes, you know the kind of current situation today. It is the Modi brand which is giving heavy dividends to BJP. So it doesn't matter whether A, B, a C, a D is there as a chief minister of A, B, C, D, E, F, G states at this point of time, which is very important. This is the same era or the situation when Congress used to be there in 60s and full 80s before 1989. They used to say, भाई कांग्रेस का टिकट मिल जाए बस बात खत्म हो, उसमें किसी की कुछ जरूरत नहीं है, और कांग्रेस का टिकट मिल गया बात खत्म. आज की डेट में बात करें, सेम सिचुएशन नरेंद्र मोदी जो 19 में हमने देखा कि इट इज द PM who made the MP, not MP who made the PM, which was the case even today. So I would say this is the future ready efforts or the preparation. आप उसको भी देखिए कि 2000 में कांग्रेस का क्या हुआ when Gandhi era is gone after 1989. There were only 2 Chhatraps. One was the Tarun Gogoi जिन्होंने 3 कंसेक्यूटिव इलेक्शन ऑन इट्स ओन, ऑन खुद की पर्सनालिटी के ऊपर जीता है, एंड वाईएसआर आंध्र प्रदेश, जो कि 2004 और 2009 में जो लोकसभा में यूपीए की गवर्नमेंट बनी, उसमें सबसे बड़ा शेयर जो था वो आंध्र प्रदेश का था, 42 सीट्स में से, एक बार 30 और एक बार 35 सीट्स के साथ। तो बोलने का मतलब ये है कि दिस इज द प्रिपरेशन फॉर 2029 ऑनवर्ड्स फॉर लोकसभा as well as for the state preparation. As far as the caste arithmetic,
So you're making an important point. You're saying 2020. Yeah, please go on. Yeah, complete.
As far as the caste arithmetic goes in these 3 states, BJP has chosen whoever has the maximum representation in that particular state, starting with Chhattisgarh, which is 34% the Adivasi population, so as the Adivasi chief minister. Coming to Madhya Pradesh, where the OBC population is dominating, including the sub-caste of other backward castes like Lodhis, like Kurmis, like Yadavs, like other OBC, so all put together 40 plus. So they have chosen OBC chief minister over there. Now coming to the Rajasthan, Rajasthan is a typical state where though all put together OBCs is 35%, but here you have to minus the Jats and the Gujars, which is 14%. The moment you reduce 14% from this 35%, you end up with 21%. And the other side with Brahmins, Rajput, Upper Caste, Baniyas, Sikhs, all put together exceeding 23%. So that is the reason why they have chosen here the upper caste, the Brahmin chief minister, and this is definitely the era of.
I get your point. So you're saying, right? So you're saying that they have looked at the caste dynamics, and of course the Modi factor, where the PM chooses the CM doesn't necessarily enhance the PM stature. But Ashok Malik, you know, you were among the few who said that even Shivraj Singh Chauhan could be replaced if the BJP won a big majority. You've got a situation which rarely has happened, that you win a big majority in an election and the chief minister gets replaced. Now, is that a suggestion that the BJP has decided to just move on from the older generation and bring in the new? That this is this constant churn the BJP wants to bring within the party?
Rajdeep, 3 points to make. One, to call this a generational change would be a little unfair. If you look at Shivraj Singh's age, he is 64 years old. Mohan Yadav, who has replaced him, is 58 years old. They're not really of different generations. They are roughly the same generation. And after a distinguished 18-year stint as chief minister, Shivraj Singh certainly has at least 10 more years in politics ahead of him. I'm pretty sure he'll be back in the party or in maybe the union government in some form. He's not over. He's far from over. Now, I think the first point you made in your introduction about the fatigue factor is a very important point. After 18 years or after multiple terms in office, a fatigue factor does develop. It can develop with the most popular and the most accomplished chief ministers or leaders. It's a reality, which is why parties often reshuffle their list of candidates. Mr. Modi has done that in Gujarat when he was chief minister. The BJP did it even this year going into the 3 state elections. These 3 state elections, in the end, were easy and facile victories, but actually they were quite challenging. Madhya Pradesh was challenging. Rajasthan was challenging. The BJP had to overcome those challenges by changing a lot of candidates, by giving new faces. And a new chief minister is the logical culmination of that process. That doesn't mean the old chief ministers suddenly become bad or unpopular. They've had their run. You need people to vote for new faces to see a new narrative. What Pradeep Gupta says about the caste sensitivities being kept in mind is also important. If you look at both Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, 2 of the largest states in northern India, the BJP has won sections of Yadav support in national elections, but has not won Yadav support in state elections, where its coalition has been a non-Yadav OBC-centric coalition. But it does want to send a signal to the Yadavs in the lead up to 2024, not just 29, as Pradeep Gupta says, even 24. So what does it do? It chooses a Yadav chief minister in Madhya Pradesh. because it cannot lead with a Yadav chief ministerial candidate in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar. I think this is intelligent politics. It's trying to give the impression of being inclusive across caste groups. To give you an example of a party that failed to do this reshuffle, I'll just finish, and ended up losing. Let's look at the BRS in Telangana. KCR was a popular chief minister. He could well have won a third term, but he refused to change candidates, and he suffered. The BJP has not made that mistake. It's conscious of the fatigue factor.
You know, you say it's smart politics. No, I take your point. You say it's smart politics. Some Syed Zafar Islam would say it's ruthless politics. That in the BJP, it's all about what Mr. Modi and Shah want. Even the MLAs don't matter. Decisions are taken in Delhi. Chief ministers are thrust. Relative non-entities in some case, according to some observers, are thrust on the party unit because the faith is in brand Modi. The CM no longer matters. This is a redux almost of Indira Gandhi's high command culture. How will you respond?
Well, your assessment of the situation is absolutely off track, Rajdeep, because what you described just now is far away from reality. Having said that, let me just explain to you about the process and approach of the Bharatiya Janata Party in terms of how we have chosen the chief minister of all these states. This generational shift is nothing new for the party. We have seen in the past, we will continue to see in the future as well. We have always given chance to new faces, youthful leaders, and we have given respect to senior leaders and used their contributions for the organization, for expanding the organization, and of course, in winning the election as well. So it is nothing new, but being given chance to all the leaders which deserve to be given chance in the party. Now, in terms of selection for the chief ministerial position, unlike many other parties where the high command culture you are talking about, in Bharatiya Janata Party, it's a complete process driven. So all the MLAs who have been elected, we have not named any chief ministerial candidate. We went to the election without having named anyone that he or she is the potential chief minister candidate. But we have given the opportunity to all the elected legislative assembly members that you choose your candidate for the chief minister. And of course, party leadership definitely.
No, are you telling me seriously? No, Syed Zafar Islam, are you telling me seriously that Bhajan Lal Sharma, first time MLA, was the choice of the MLAs of Rajasthan? Are you telling me that Mr. Yadav was the first choice of your MLAs in Madhya Pradesh?
Well, Rajdeep, I don't know how much you know about Mr. Bhajan Lal Sharma. He has been organizational secretary. The one who works as an organizational secretary does know every single elected MLAs of the state. And he is absolutely clear that who has contributed and what is each of the MLAs' strength. So I'm sure the elected MLAs have chosen him purely because his understanding of the state is absolutely better than many of the other elected members. And of course, I won't discount that the senior leadership must have expressed their desire also to see a new face. And I'm sure that this is something which has culminated based on the process which was driven based on the desire of all the MLAs. Yeah. Yes, go ahead, please.
So you're saying that the decisions in the end, you did consult the MLAs. I just want to bring in, just a minute, I just want to bring in Supriya Shrineth because I want to contrast this Supriya Shrineth with the Congress party. In 2018, you won in these very states, but you chose to stay, some would say, with the old guard. Ashok Gehlot in Rajasthan, Kamal Nath in Madhya Pradesh, when you could have been disruptionist and brought in generational change. Sachin Pilot was then the Rajasthan Congress president. Jyotiraditya Scindia was one of your star campaigners. You didn't do it. The BJP has gone in for disruption, taking risks of a kind the Congress simply doesn't want to take. And thereby, that's the difference in a way between the BJP brand of high command politics and the Congress brand of high command politics. One is status quoist, one is risk taking.
So thanks for having me on the show. But first up, I want to say that on this cold wintry evening, Zafar Islam does have a sense of humor. To say that Bhajan Lal Sharma and Mohan Yadav and Vishnu Sai were all choices of the elected MLAs of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan is a good joke that he has cracked, and full marks to him for having that sense of humor. Before I answer your direct question, I think the voluntary retirement scheme, the VRS as it's called, has a new term and an all new meaning this evening. Vasundhara, Raman and Shivraj, but this is not voluntary. They have been forced into exile, they have been forced to retire, and the high command that you keep referring to in the BJP is not high command, it is 1.5 command. It is the whims and fancies of two people, actually 1.5 people in the BJP, Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi. Who do they want to prop up? I mean, if anybody believes that all of these three people were selected by a democratic process, then you really are smoking something very good. The reality is that MLA's advice was also not solicited.
No, you're not answering my direct question.
Go ahead and select him.
My direct question to you, you also had the opportunity to give VRS to your leaders. You don't, the BJP does.
No. Rajdeep, give me the same courtesy that you gave three previous speakers. You did not once intervene, so let me finish my argument and I will answer all your counter questions. I will come to your direct question, but have the patience that you showed with the other three guests. Thank you very much in advance. The reality is that Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah will not let anybody thrive in the party who can be a potential challenger. Now, the old guard that you're calling are all very powerful or were very powerful regional satraps in the BJP, and this is also the end of the road as far as those regional satraps are concerned. If you do not bow before the 1.5 command in the BJP, if you are a potential threat or a potential challenger, you will not survive. Now, to answer your direct question, why did the Congress not do this, and is this a risk? I don't think this is a risk at all. I think it's a very calculated move that Mr. Modi has made. And I will go back to the argument that I was making. He doesn't like challengers. He doesn't like people who have a standing of their own. Are you telling me in Madhya Pradesh, Mohan Yadav was more popular all through the election than Shivraj Singh Chauhan was? I don't think so. Are you telling me that, Bhajan Lal Sharma was more popular than Vasundhara Raje was? Did the popular vote come for these three candidates? Absolutely not. So to answer your direct question, this isn't a risk. This is a very calculated move made by the duo to ensure there are no challengers going into 24 or anything after that. I also want to make one important point. Unlike the Congress, the BJP has no sign of internal democracy left. You may say that we did not change Ashok Gehlot or we did not change Kamal Nath. The reality is that some of these people have led the most successful campaigns of the Congress party. We do not send people into mental coma just because they are powerful in their regions. And that's what the BJP does. They did that with Advani. They did that with
thereby you don't defend generational change.
Sinha. They retired Arun Shourie in mental coma. That's the reality.
But then but as a result, you don't rejuvenate your party, you don't bring in new talents. At the end of the day, like in every profession, politics also needs rejuvenation. And Congress's problem at some extent, especially in the Hindi heartland, has been you've not been able to throw up new talents. I mean, surely over the last 30 years, you've not been able to go beyond Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh in Madhya Pradesh, for example.
But the reality is that the same Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh did win us Madhya Pradesh in 2018. Ashok Gehlot did win us Rajasthan. Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singh Deo did win us Chhattisgarh. Just because we have lost an election, we are not going to end political careers of people the way BJP would. And I think ruthless is a very mild word. It's almost political assassination of anybody who can be a potential challenger or an adversary in your politics. And that's what Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah are doing.
Okay, can I bring in Pradeep Gupta? Because Pradeep Gupta, I recalled in 2018 when the Congress won, you had told me, just a minute, that I'll let you, I'll let you respond, Syed Zafar Islam, but Pradeep Gupta, contrast these two models. Congress refused to bring in 2018 when they won new faces and established new faces, Scindia and Pilot. The BJP has gone in for relatively inexperienced faces. Is that simply because of the Modi factor? If the BJP didn't have the Modi factor, they could not have replaced a Shivraj Singh or a Vasundhara Raje. Am I correct?
Yes, Rajdeep, to large extent, yes, but it is very simple. As you mentioned in business or sports or even politics, you cannot drive new machinery with old software. This is the truth of the day. When your demography 65% is having less than 35 year of age, so you have to bring in the newness to the party or to the system, the new thought, the new processes. Until and unless you do that, I mean, more than 60%, 60 year of age, hardly 15 to 20% of electors are there. So how they can resonate with the new generation, I don't know this for any party, irrespective of any party. And for that matter, that is the precisely reason why I'm saying giving the example of Tarun Gogoi and YSR. Why? Because once the Gandhi era ended and the new era started, these are the two new Satrap. They won Congress election on their own. This is very important and consecutively. When you repeat the government, it's purely on your own performance and quality.
No, I take your point, but Ashok Malik, is the BJP taking a huge risk here? Somewhere the fact is that, organizationally, is the messaging that the chief minister makes no difference. Whoever we choose will be the chief minister. End of the day, all our eggs are in the Modi basket. Is that one of the messages? And could that message, like with Indira Gandhi and the Congress, eventually self-destruct somewhere the BJP?
I think that's a bit unfair. I mean, there are three new chief ministers. Maybe all three will be successful. Maybe all three will be unsuccessful. Let's give them a chance. In 2005, I recall when Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who's now being extolled as by everybody on this show, was made chief minister. A lot of people on shows such as this one said, after someone like Uma Bharti, who's a very tall leader, who is this Shivraj Chauhan? He's a newcomer. He's so young. Yet he proved to be successful. So let's give people an opportunity. You see, chief ministers or state governments are formed or chosen due to a multiplicity of factors. The wishes of the MLAs are very important, but they have often not been the only criteria. This is true for the BJP, this is true for the Congress. In the early 1980s, the Congress made Arjun Singh, Gundu Rao, VP Singh chief ministers. They were newcomers. Arjun Singh was a newcomer. Gundu Rao was the first time, was a very early in his political career. These choices served the Congress well in those states for 10 years. So other parties have also taken such risk. Let's take another example. When YSR passed away, YSR was mentioned by Pradeep Gupta a few minutes ago, when he tragically passed away in 2009 in an air crash. His MLAs loyal to him in Andhra Pradesh wanted his son as chief minister. The Congress central leadership felt differently. So the MLAs' wishes were disregarded. And the central leadership had a legitimate reason to do so. So these decisions are multifactorial, whether in the BJP or the Congress. Yeah.
No, I take your point. Some have worked. I'm not sure Gundu Rao worked, but certainly, in other states, you had the Congress having also its share of successes. YSR and Tarun Gogoi have been mentioned on the show. The BJP's had successes, Yogi Adityanath, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, but they've also had some failures. To give an example, Jairam Thakur was not able to repeat his success in Himachal. Therefore, Syed Zafar Islam, do you want to counter what Supriya Srinath started this off by saying? Yeah, okay. Okay. So there have been successes, there have been failures. Yes, Syed Zafar Islam, you want to counter Supriya Srinath? She says it's a joke that the BJP, that all decisions in the BJP, according to her, are taken by Modi Shah. Is this internal democracy, she says?
I understand the frustration when she was speaking, her frustration, because they have tested defeat and they were claiming that they will win all the election, but unfortunately for them, they couldn't understand the feelings of a common voters. Having said that, she should understand that they have a grand old party being run through a remote, while there is a party which is modern, which believes in inclusivity, which believes in democratic process, and the party which is a very young party, but the largest party in the world. So we have followed certain principles, certain policy, a certain framework, and that is working for us. Instead of criticizing Modi ji, instead of criticizing Prime Minister, instead of criticizing our Home Minister, they should introspect about their own party, and that is what they don't do. We always focus on our party and how
you're saying
we
that.
need to.
Can I?
Sure.
Can I
You're
make a
saying,
small point,
you're
please?
saying it's the Congress
Can I
which should
please make a very
introspect.
small point?
Supriya, Supriya Shrinet, look at the contrast. No, you haven't, you've had 2 defeats in Rajasthan. No, just a minute. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, you've had defeats, but Kamal Nath and Ashok Gehlot, will you take their resignations or is there no accountability? BJP is changing its winning chief minister. You're not even changing your losing chief ministerial nominees.
Yes, I will answer your question. But to the larger point that you were
Supriya
making,
Shrinet.
and the point that I wanted to put in before you went to Zafar Islam, was that it is whimsical because look at the way chief ministers are treated as puppets, even in the way they run their governments. I mean, the Gujarat chief ministers were changed thrice over. Exactly the same thing happened in Uttarakhand. What right does an MLA in Uttarakhand or Gujarat have to face the people of that state? Because chief ministers like puppets are being changed 3 times before elections, and in both these states there is so much of there's a lot of buzz going around about
What
how
will
Yogi
the
Adityanath
Congress
should
do?
be replaced. So I'm just trying to
Forget the
understand
BJP for a moment. Will you change?
I am coming to the point that you made.
Will you move
I'm
from
coming
your
to you.
They
defeated
will
chief
do
ministerial
nothing
candidates?
except criticizing
30
Honorable
seconds.
Prime Minister
I
and Honorable
understand.
Home Minister.
Rajdeep, I understand that amongst the 4 of us, you only find an intervention with me, which is good. I like that democracy, but I wish you were extending the same courtesy
that's
to
not
others.
true.
As far as we are
That's not
concerned,
true.
we have had meetings after the election. Okay, that's not true. Now keep quiet. So now all that I'm trying to say is we've had meetings. We have assessed the situation. We are going into elections as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, and the party will take a call. Unlike the BJP, we are not run by the whims and fancies of 1.5 people. There is consensus making that happens in the Congress, and which is why we are different from the BJP. And thank God for that, which is why we respect democracy both internally and which is why we are the greatest proponents of democracy outside, which the BJP cannot talk about. I mean, that's the reality. I heard the Rajasthan newly appointed chief minister make that speech. He thanked PM, he thanked Home Minister, he thanked Nadda. What about the 163 MLAs who elected him supposedly? What about them? He didn't even mention them. That's the internal democracy.
Okay, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there. Okay, I've heard 2 very clear perspectives from the 2 parties and experts also weighing in. I appreciate all of you joining us. It's a fascinating issue, how chief ministers of major states in India are appointed. Is it true internal democracy, or is it in a way simply the high command culture operating in very different ways? I appreciate my guests joining me on my top talking point. When we return, I'm turning to a special interview that I've done. India's most eminent jurist, Fali Nariman, will decode Article 370 judgment for us. What was right? What was wrong? On the other side, you're watching the news today.
India Today Group sweeps the ITA 2023 awards. From Best English News Channel, India Today TV.
Popular English News Channel, the award goes to India Today.
To Best Hindi News Channel, Aaj Tak.
Popular Hindi News Channel, and the award goes to Aaj Tak.
And Best Documentary OTT from Best Talk Show.
Best Chat Show, Rajdeep Sardesai.
To Best Male Anchor.
The award goes to Rahul Kanwal, News Track.
And the ultimate ITA Scroll of Honor for Nari Shakti, exemplary leadership.
It gives me the greatest possible pleasure that Aaj Tak and India Today have once again been judged India's most popular channels at the ITA Awards. As someone who lives and breathes these channels, this honor is a real affirmation. Yes, there's a lot of pressure on us, and the pressure is yours. We always want to be bigger, better, faster, and more for you, our viewer.
Once again, the gold standard wins. Most trusted, most awarded. India Today. India's maximum channel. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Hello and welcome to this India Today special. The judgment of the Supreme Court, a unanimous verdict in the Article 370 case, has set off a fierce legal and constitutional debate. There are those who are saying that the judgment is inimical to the federal principles of our constitution. Others are saying it's given a huge boost to national integration. How is this judgment to be viewed? Who better to answer that than the eminence grise of Indian jurisprudence and constitutional law? Fali Nariman joins me. Appreciate your joining me, Mr. Nariman. I want to start with this fierce debate over whether this judgment undermines federal principles or does it strengthen national integration. What's your view?
Well, before I come to that, Rajdeep, permit me just to say this.
Yes.
That before the judgment came, and before perhaps it was argued, because I didn't follow the argument too much, my own view was that the presidential power under 370, Clause 3, could not be exercised at all in the manner in which it was done. And for this reason, that as you know, there is an article, supervening article in the Constitution which says amendment of the Constitution. And it expressly states that each and every provision of the Constitution can be amended. Therefore, we have to judge the validity of what happened in August of 2019 by reference to that event. In Article 368, as you say, as I said, says each and every provision can be amended. It includes a temporary provision, it includes a permanent provision. And the manner in which it has to be done is that it has to go before two houses of parliament, get the requisite majority, and thereafter get the presidential assent. There is no other manner. But, and there's a big but, in 370 there is a subclause 4 which expressly states that the president is empowered also to revoke the status of a temporary inclusion in the Constitution. But it is conditioned. It says he can only do this, and you must see the proviso.
Yes.
You can only do this, that the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of the state of J&K is necessary before the President issues such a notification. Now, admittedly, there could not be such a notification for the simple reason that there was no Constituent Assembly in existence.
Yes.
And secondly, that the Constitution of J&K itself had been abrogated. So this was otiose. But you cannot say that a proviso is otiose, for God's sake.
Otiose meaning is infructuous effect.
Infructuous, ineffective.
Yeah, because you see, the Supreme Court judgment does go on to say that the presidential order renaming the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly as the Legislative Assembly to get around
Is not
374 is not correct.
Correct.
But then goes on to say that the decision itself to abrogate
that's a little jump.
is valid. So they've done a legal sleight of hand.
That's a little jump. Yes, quite right. It's a legal sleight of hand, which you are quite right. I disagree with that. That's apart from that. But therefore, what is the consequence? I mean,
yes.
Suppose I am right. Suppose I am right. Can Article 370 not be removed? It can. But it has to be done in the procedure mentioned in 368. That's my point.
So you're very clear that Article 370 is a temporary provision.
Yes, yes.
So this belief that it was, there's a permanence to it, you disagree with that.
That's what it says so.
But if you have to remove it, there is a process to be followed.
That's right.
In your view, there is a question mark over whether the process that was followed by renaming the Constituent Assembly as Legislative Assembly is the right process.
That's right.
So in your view, what would have been the right process?
Only go under 368. That is to say, amendment, which they haven't done. There's no amendment of the Constitution to get rid of 368. They've gone by presidential power. And presidential power only under 370. Once again, 370 clause 3.
And a constitutional amendment would have necessarily required a 2/3 majority
yes, but that,
in both houses.
That's the politics of it.
Yes.
Whether they would have got the 2/3, they would not have got it, is, to my mind, not of any significance at all. I mean, we are dealing with a constitutional question, so please let us decide it in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution.
Okay.
Whether it was urged, not urged, half urged, not urged, it makes no difference.
You make an important point because that's the constitutional process that should have been adopted,
yes.
which has in a way been short-circuited.
Mandated.
Which is mandated, which has been short-circuited. There's an interesting editorial in the Hindu newspaper which refers to the judgment and says, the most potent attack on federal principles is the court's unconscionable conclusion that Parliament, while a state is under President's rule, can do any act, legislative or otherwise, on behalf of state legislature.
Yes, that's correct. They are also right. I'm not saying they are not right.
No, is that a concern? Because let me give you...
Yes, that is a concern. That is a concern. That is a concern. If you call India federal, of course we are not federal, we are quasi-federal.
Yes.
And that's the constitutional position also. We are quasi-federal. But all this can be done. Whatever is required to be done has to be done in accordance with the Constitution. It can't be done apart from the Constitution. That is to say, it has to be done by an amendment. Now, that amendment, whether it was possible, not possible, let us assume that it was possible, they haven't done it. If it wasn't possible, well, that's worse for them. But that's not the point. I'm not raising any technical issue. Mm-hmm. It's a constitutional issue. And the constitutional bench of the Constitution of the court had to determine this on its own. It had to determine it. Having overlooked this, it was not proper at all.
But
whether the point was taken or not taken.
It's a unanimous verdict.
Yeah.
And the court was being asked to look at both the effective abrogation of Article 370 as well as the downsizing of a state into union territories.
Now that's another point.
Yes.
The downsizing of the state, once again, is very, very doubtful for two reasons. One is the bench relied upon a 5-judge bench judgment of 1960, years and years ago, which I consider to be incorrect. Namely, that you have to take the consent of the state legislature. Namely, that you have to at least approach the state legislature. And having approached it, the court in 1960 said, having approached it, that's enough. You don't have to take its consent. Right. But I think that again is a very serious violation of a federal principle. Because what's the use of saying that we are a federal state and which doesn't require the consent to its downsizing from a state to a union territory?
Because we saw it with Andhra Pradesh when the state was broken apart into Andhra and Telangana. There was a lot of, there was a backlash to that. Now, where a state under president's rule gets divided into 2 union territories. Does that set, in your view, a dangerous principle, or as is being argued and was argued before the court, this strengthens national integration? Jammu and Kashmir was an example, to use the court's own words, of asymmetrical federalism, and therefore it was necessary to integrate it by removing the temporary provision of Article 370.
Yes, there's a point there. I agree. There's some point there. But that makes no difference to my mind. Was it constitutional? Because we are looking at it, I'm looking at it as a lawyer.
You're worried about the process followed?
Yes, absolutely. Because that was not, that whether it could have been done or not been done is a matter again of consequence. Because if such an amendment to the constitution had been done, it could have been suggested that it alters the basic structure of the constitution, which again is not permissible.
I.e. federalism.
Which the Chief Justice himself has called the Northern Star.
Yes.
You see? So, I mean, that's a vastly different question from what was decided.
Yes. But the court could argue, presumably the court felt that the basic structure of the constitution was not being violated.
But that is only sub silento. They don't say so.
They don't say so.
They don't say so. That's clear. That's quite clear. But their attention perhaps was not drawn to it, whatever it was. But that to my mind. But the basic problem is one which deals with whether it must be done. If it requires to be done, if at all, it should have been done in accordance with the Constitution.
Let me play the devil's advocate.
Right.
Exceptional circumstances require exceptional...
Well, what is the exceptional circumstance?
The exceptional circumstances, Jammu and Kashmir had a special status of a kind under Article 370 that other parts of the country didn't. Therefore...
Look, I tell you.
Yes.
You may have been right. If they had gone through this process, it had been defeated in Parliament because of majority, whatever it was, and thereafter they said that these are extraordinary circumstances and therefore we exercise this power. That was perhaps possible, but not if you don't pursue that course.
So, net, are you telling me that this needs... there are those who are saying Article 370 is now dead. That issue is now over. Do you believe Article 370, which is still on the statute books, is effectively a dead law as a result of this 5-judge unanimous
Yes,
verdict?
of course it is. Of course it is. But that makes no difference. You see, whether it is again republished as 370 or not makes no difference. You have to go by the judgment, because the court is empowered to say that it is dead.
Is it reversible?
Beg your pardon?
Is it reversible? If a subsequent parliament was to come in the future and look at it differently, is it reversible? Or do you believe that it is irreversible?
I don't know. I haven't checked that. I don't know.
Some of the important elements in this were to suggest that views of the state legislature under Article 3 are recommendatory only, are only recommendatory.
Yeah, that's because of the judgment which I told you of 1960.
Yes.
The Chief Justice has followed that judgment.
Jammu and Kashmir doesn't retain any element of sovereignty. You see, for the longest time...
sovereignty is absolutely correct.
The court is absolutely correct on that.
Right. Only that second judge, Justice Kaul, has followed, I believe it is Justice Garindra judgment which says that he did retain the residue of sovereignty after seceding those 3 points, the Maharaja.
The other interesting observation...
But that is a minor question.
Parliament's power under Article 356(1) is not limited to lawmaking. It's a much wider power that Parliament has.
That's a very dangerous thing. That is far more dangerous to my mind. Because if you can impose an emergency under 356 in a state because it's not functioning properly, and then do exactly what you like and treat it as a unitary government, then I'm afraid you are going against the ethos of the Constitution.
So, in a sense, are we saying that we are becoming more... one of the effects of the judgment is to suggest that we are becoming more centralizing.
That's correct.
As a nation.
I think you have correctly put it. Yeah, I would agree with you. Yes, that may be a point of view. I'm not suggesting that's not a point of view, but that is a consequence.
It's very interesting. A 2016 Supreme Court order had held that the provision had over the years acquired a certain permanent space in the constitution and could not be abrogated. And therefore, this has been there are Kashmiris today who are trying to suggest that there was a sense of permanence. You're very clear. The temporary nature of it is court has ruled rightly on that.
Yes. And even sovereignty, I don't think the justice call is absolutely correct. That judgment should have been overlooked, as a matter of fact, which other 4 judges have really overlooked. You see, when he said that some elements of sovereignty remained in the Maharaja, that was a binding judgment of 5 judges.
May I also say...
Sub silento that was overlooked.
Turning to where you are, your original argument and your concern about the short-circuiting of constitutional processes, the Supreme Court itself has said in the judgment, importantly, constitution amendments through a circuitous manner are not permissible. Article 368 procedure must be followed. So at one level, they say that the process should have been followed, and yet the consequence of that is that they have accepted the abrogation.
The only exception...
What else could the court have done?
The only exception is Article 3.
Sure.
You see, which Article 3, but you have to read down Article 3. Article 3 doesn't expressly permit a state to be reduced to a union territory. It doesn't say so. And I would have expected a state in the original constitution of 1950 to be suddenly reduced from a status of a state to a third-class status of a union territory would be a little...
So you think that the court, even while perhaps ruling on the abrogation itself, could have also pronounced on the issue of statehood being downsized to a union territory?
Perhaps, yes, and dealt with the federal principle which you mentioned. Yes, because it didn't deal with the federal principle.
Yeah, it stayed silent on it, and some are calling it, dare I say, a cop-out. That the state, is there
all these phrases don't
okay, let me not use the word cop-out. The worry is that the court doesn't, beyond the point today, on these contentious political issues, want to confront the executive. And therefore, separation of powers, this is the realm of parliament. We do not want to confront the parliament or the executive beyond the point.
I don't think so. I don't think that's a correct assumption. No, I don't think so. You see, I think that they have gone by the wrong approach to the whole situation that came in, the entirely different approach. I don't see this point having been argued at all. Namely, the point which I mentioned earlier, namely that the principle that any provision of the Constitution can be amended under 368. 370 is a provision of the Constitution. Whether call it permanent, makes no difference. They could always amend it. And therefore, it's not been amended in the right manner, that's all.
Okay, so in conclusion, road ahead. What is Fali Nariman saying as a result of this judgment, which is being hailed politically, may I add, particularly by the ruling party, because they see it as a vindication of the stand that they took on Article 370. What is the message that you have, if any, for the judicial, for our judiciary, for our higher judiciary?
No, I have no message. I have only my own view on the matter, because it would be presumptuous for me to give a message to the judiciary.
But you're sending in this, in what you've told me today, somewhere you're expressing your concern.
Absolutely. My concern is, I do have a concern that it's in my view, humble view, an incorrect appreciation of the Constitution, which I didn't expect the court to do. I thought the court would go through it and find out and tell them that this is the way to do it. They could have said, well, it's impossible to do it for X, Y, and Z reason, after which they could have perhaps taken another step, but they didn't do that.
Fali Nariman, as always, for your plain speaking and for, in a way, sending out, in your own words, a note of caution to the courts to ensure that the constitutional processes are not subverted. I appreciate you spelling it out so clearly.
Thanks a lot. Good.
Thank you. The one and only Fali Nariman. Thanks for watching.
हमारे डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर ही कास्ट सेंसस को अपोज कर रहे हैं, वो भी कर रहे हैं और इन्हों भी कर रहे हैं.
A remark by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge in Parliament has ended up exposing the divide within his party over the Karnataka caste survey report. Kharge made the comment on Monday when poked by BJP leader Sushil Kumar Modi over when the pending report will be made public. Karnataka Deputy CM D.K. Shivakumar had recently signed a letter to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah by a Vokalika organization demanding a fresh caste survey. Reacting to Kharge's statement, Shivakumar denied opposing caste census.